Good morning. Organizing committee, organizing chairpersons, President Sakharin, Professor Naksit, Professor Yoshikawa, distinguished scholars and participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my great pleasure and honor to be here among distinguished academics and scientists from many parts of the world and to welcome you all to this conference. Considering the significant impact that science, technology, and innovation could have on the development of sustainable energy solutions in today's carbon-constrained world, this international conference on sustainable energy and environment, science, technology, and innovation for ASEAN green growth is a very significant and timely event indeed. It is also my aspiration to see concerted efforts of ASEAN academics and scientists and their international partners in uplifting the profile of ASEAN research in the international community and in playing a greater role in translating research into practical applications. Ladies and gentlemen, just a week ago, President Obama and President Xi Jinping reached a surprising landmark agreement on an ambitious joint plan to curb carbon emissions, which is expected to spur nations around the world to make their own cuts in greenhouse gases. And in November 2015, all roads will lead to Paris, where the 21st session of the Conference of the Parties, or COP21, to the UNFCCC is to take place, and hopefully a new agreement on emission reductions will be reached, with its provisions being implemented and coming into effect from 2020 forward. Let's keep our fingers crossed. At the same time, many roads will probably lead to ASEAN, a vibrant economic region that is gearing up for regional integration, or AEC, in 2015, and for rapid economic growth that will be accompanied by a rapid rise in demand for energy. Much of it is to be met, unfortunately, by fossil fuels. It is then obvious that policymakers in this region, being caught at this historic crossroads, are facing the formidable challenge of balancing the needs for energy security and competitiveness on the one hand, and for climate change mitigation on the other. That is why economies in the region and elsewhere are beginning to embrace green growth as a national strategy. In Thailand, for example, the current National Economic and Social Development Plan, covering 2012 to 2016, or the 11th plan as we call it here, includes a green policy that calls for addressing climate change more rigorously and moving toward a low-carbon economy and society. The Climate Change Master Plan lays out the framework of integrated policies and action plans related to climate change for the 2012 to 2050 period. On low-carbon energy, plans are already in place targeting 25% energy intensity reduction by 2030 as compared to 2010, and 25% renewable energy contribution to the total energy demand by 2021. In the non-energy sector, our country is encouraging local authorities to enhance carbon sinks through forestation and sustainable forest resource management. However, the attainment of these green growth objectives and targets must be underpinned by effective application of relevant technologies. To this end, Thailand's first 10-year National Science, Technology and Innovation Master Plan, covering 2012 to 2021, outlines the strategies and priority areas for technological innovation, from energy efficiency to renewable energy, particularly bio-based energy and industry, to green manufacturing and climate change mitigation and adaptation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm heartened to note that intense research is being conducted in Thailand and the region into the areas I just mentioned, and that there are active ongoing international collaboration in these endeavors, as evidenced by the number and quality of the papers to be presented and the number of collaborative side events to be held. Before ending, let me say a few words about what's going on here in Thailand. As President Sakarin has mentioned, Thailand is in a period of adjusting ourselves to international standard through reform process. At the moment, we have both the National Assembly and the Reform Council working hand in hand with the government in order to create packages of reform. A lot of those reforms will be those that cannot be done in ordinary democracy, if I may. We are talking about sustainable democracy at the moment, and to put in place or embed reform process so that future governments, when they come in, whoever they are, would have to do justice for the society in a sustainable way and in an approach that is transparent and predictable. So that is one task that Professor Sakarin is holding in his hand as chair of the subcommittee on science, technology, and innovation in the Reform Council. So we should wish him good luck. It's a difficult work. Secondly, the current government has put a lot of emphasis on the need for the country to have a very solid foundation of science, technology, and innovation. Through government policy at this moment, at least we have five-pronged approach in laying down the foundation, starting with our target of 1% of GDP in investment of research and development, both public and private, something that we may not be able to achieve for the next 12 months, but it's something that we can lay a good groundwork, especially for the private sector to be able to invest with proper incentives, with proper human resources, and with proper infrastructure. Secondly, having a lot of money does not mean that we are going to achieve what we are looking for. So in the process, we need to strengthen our human resources, something I guess you would have many sessions talking about it. But through conventional means of human resource production is not sufficient at this time because technology moves very quickly, changes very quickly, maybe quicker or a lot quicker than policy itself. So we need to find innovative ways in order to make sure that our workforce is capable of handling sustainable energy development. Our young graduates understand what sustainable energy, climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation is all about. And as we have witnessed with many other countries in the world, many of the young generations are now moving away from science and technology, something that needs to be addressed rather quickly. Third, we also need to empower and encourage our private sector to do more, especially in Thailand, to invest in knowledge generation, to invest in research and development through financial incentives, through filling the gaps of where they need in terms of human resource shortages. Here, for example, we have a program called Talent Mobility to mobilize researchers, professors, even in public institutions, to work even full-time with the private sector in order to strengthen during this transition time for them to be able to establish their lab facilities, research centers, in order for them to be able to sustain and to build up their capacity in research in the near future. We also need to emphasize the fact that as the country moves forward, we also will be investing a lot in the so-called mega projects in science and technology, in transportation, in energy, in water resource management. How, as a country, as a society, we can use these demand-side mega projects in order to strengthen or to pool our science and technology capabilities along the way. This is a great challenge, especially in terms of government procurement. Lastly, for the case of Thailand, we have been away from investing in science and technology infrastructure for quite a while. Something to remind the society that apart from highways, bridge, high-speed train, we also need to invest in our scientific and technological infrastructure as well. So this five-pronged approach would at least pave the way for the future of science technology development and innovation development in the case of Thailand. Since I don't have much time to talk, I would like to lastly commend the efforts of JGC, King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, and partners for organizing this conference. And I thank all the distinguished speakers, authors, and participants for your contribution. I do hope that you will find the conference professionally satisfying and enjoyable. And for those of you who come from outside of Thailand, I hope you will find some time for leisure, if not to help stimulate our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I now declare this conference open. Thank you very much for your attention.